Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, the show where we help coaches, entrepreneurs, and leaders build businesses that create massive impact. I'm Adam Roach, alongside my incredible co-host,
Jess Webber, and we're here today to bring you the best strategies, mindset shifts, and real-life success stories to help you level up in your coaching journey.
Whether you're launching your coaching business, scaling to 6 or 7 figures, or just looking for inspiration to push through, this podcast is your go-to resource.
We're bringing you expert insights, real talk, and actionable items every single episode. So if you're ready to take your coaching game to the next level,
then let's dive on in. Why should you have a framework? And why should you use a framework when you are looking to bring value to people? Jess, we're going to talk about a framework, but I've got to pick a bone with you. I've got to pick a bone with you because you did a podcast without me last week, and we have had massive feedback that it was one of the best. Now, I jokingly asked, but I also sincerely asked, was it because the bald-headed guy wasn't there? No, it's not because the bald-headed guy wasn't there. It's because you had a framework, you were prepared, and you blew it up. And I missed you, Jess. I'm glad I'm back.
I missed you too. And I, always regret it when we can't connect because I think there's value in what we do together. And it was fun to share a framework that I'm very passionate about that I don't often get to share in the coaching space. Right. And so I appreciated that opportunity and I appreciated the feedback we've gotten so far. And yet what you said is perfect here. The only reason that I think it landed well is because it was something that I have practiced, I've internalized, and it is my personal framework that I believe in. And that's why when our lovely, amazing, wonderful podcast producer texted me last week and said, "Hey, where's the podcast episode?" I said, "Please give me 20 minutes to record one." And I was able to do that quickly and efficiently and get it back to her for release is because I had a framework. And so I think this is a great conversation for us to have today revolving around all things coaching, because I feel like there's a lot of people who don't have an understanding of what coaches do and how they serve people. Makes me think back to the days of those who can't do teach or those who can't teach coach. And I don't really like that because I don't believe in that.
No. Well, and the key word here is framework. When we think about coaching, or let me back up and let's just talk about some of the coaches that we've helped in the past. Myself, I won't speak for you, though when it came time to coaching, because I'd been coached my entire life, it was easy to step into a space and mimic some of my past coaches in serving other people. And if we really look at what that is, that's a winged approach. That has nothing to do with Adam Roach. It has nothing to do with the value that I can bring. It's just me sitting there asking questions and picking people's brains. And the next thing they know, they've had self-discovery. That ain't coaching. In my opinion, that is not coaching. There's no framework to that. There's no value add to that. What you brought last week and what we are bringing this week and what we're going to bring forward this entire year is frameworks, right? Frameworks for how our specific avatar, that's key there, our specific avatar can go from where they are to truly where they want to grow to using the framework that we have created. And guess what? We know it's not for everybody. And that's the cool part.
It is. It's funny. You and I met, almost 4 years ago, I guess. And it all started because you needed help creating a framework from 200 pages of gibberish.
Well, now let's be careful. It wasn't gibberish. It was just not justified. It wasn't justified. It didn't have your stamp on it, and now it is beautiful. Hey, be nice.
For those of you that are not watching and are listening, I'm making faces because...
Listen, was gibberish, though it had worked because I had framed out something, but again, it didn't have your stamp on it. That is correct.
To me, it felt like trying to consume gibberish.
Listen, we're talking about brains. One is an Indiana Hoosier native alumni. By the way, go Hoosiers, national championship game, and an MIT brain over here. That's the difference. I mean, come on now, Jeff. That's the difference.
What I was going to say and where I headed with that was when we met so many years ago, you called me an architect, and that was the first time somebody had ever coined that term and related it to me. And I gravitated towards that. And it's because my brain thinks in frameworks, which is proof of what we were just, making fun of each other for. But it's such a fascinating thing to me that so many people don't approach life that way. And that's what I've had to learn is, oh wait, not everybody thinks in frameworks. And yet they are such the beautiful, almost like safety net, the foundation, the whatever you need that's a security piece to have confidence in your abilities. And so all of these people that we've had come into our world that are maybe insecure, suffering from imposter syndrome, feeling like they're missing some level of clarity, every single time when they adopt the framework that we have now written and created, our blueprint, right? They overcome all of that. The ones who don't adopt the blueprint or the framework are the ones that are still struggling and floundering and not finding success. And so I am of the very strong opinion that frameworks matter.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Let's look at the top of the food chain right now in framework spacing. Here's who I believe is probably one of the best framers out there is Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi does an incredible job with his 3 books and all of his past success. What he does is he frames things out. He frames them out. And like him or not, it doesn't matter. If you've ever picked up an Alex Hormozi book, Jess, I know you have. You're a big fan. I've got 3 of them sitting right over here. Yeah, the framing inside of those books, it's 3rd grade level. It's 3rd grade level, and it works. So what's the point? The point is for you to become a masses appealer, right? For you to appeal to the masses, find and develop and build a framework that can appeal to the masses that is specifically to your avatar, right? So what I mean by that is you can have a specific avatar and there's probably a large group of those people out there. And that's what I mean to appeal to the masses of your avatar.
I love that you're saying that, although I want to stop you there because I think a lot of people would hear that, and if they aren't coaching already, feel like they need to pause and build it before they launch as a coach. How do we help them through that? What would you say to somebody who maybe potentially suffers from perfection paralysis, analysis paralysis, all those things?
Very simply, you get your cute little butt on an airplane wherever you are. You fly to Charleston. We're doing this Thursday called our Coach Intensive, where we are teaching that, Jess. We are literally teaching the how-to in framework building for coaches. So you need to plug into, if you're feeling this way, right? If you're a coach, if you are someone that's maybe a trainer or a consultant, and you're feeling just a little, gosh, what's the word I'm looking for here, Jess? Just a little too abstract. You need to go get framework help. And that's what we're doing this week here in Charleston with the coaches that are coming into town. They're feeling that way. They want to build more. They want to scale more. And we're going to teach them how we built our framework for them to do the exact same thing. And that's what I love about what we do. There isn't any behind the curtain thing, Jess. Everything that we build, everything that we have built, we expose it, right? We expose it, not for them to poke holes in. They could. though, but for them to take the framework of how we've built the framework and go build their own framework.
Yeah, well, I think that's where I was kind of headed with that question to you is I know that we've had a lot of people that are like me come into our world and they do have perfection paralysis or analysis paralysis or imposter syndrome paralysis, right? And the thing is you have to go take action somewhere.
Yes.
So the greatest way to do this is if you haven't developed your own personal framework, you can lean into somebody else's framework, like the I Love Coaching Blueprint, to get started, to then take action and develop your framework along the way. No one, not a single coach, and we've got 6 and 7 figure coaches in our world, right, has ever built their framework first and then found success. They found success of their framework by doing the work first up front and then figuring out through trial and error what resonates, what doesn't, what they like, what they don't. Because a big portion of this is if you're going to sit in perfection paralysis, you're probably going to build a framework around something that you don't actually even love or even like for that matter.
Right.
So the key for me here is, yes, you need the framework, but to create your framework, you have to take action. You have to get out of your own way. And so for anybody who doesn't have one yet, don't feel like you're behind, because you're not. And what you need to do is borrow another framework and then figure out what parts of it you like and what parts of it you don't. And that's part of the reason I was referencing this blueprint is I literally last night was putting the finishing touches on the rough draft. I call it rough draft because I still have things I want to change, but I probably won't, of our version 8 blueprint. So I told you I met Adam over almost 4 years ago. That was version 1. In 4 years, I've written 8 drafts of this thing because each time our framework has developed as we've tried things and succeeded and tried things and failed.
That's right.
And so even the people who are coaching coaches have frameworks that change as they learn things. And so I want to encourage anybody who feels like they're behind. You're not. You just have to go do the thing and take action on it.
Well, and so this kind of, as you were saying that version 8, I went back and I was mentally and started thinking about my dad. So my dad was a coach in the swimming space. And he was in that space. I mean, as long as I knew the man, he had been a coach in swimming. And he went on to coach water skiing, and he went on to many different open water swimming. He went on many different things, right? Though when you look at swimming, there's basically 4 fundamental strokes: freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly. That's it, right? Though over time, as he was coaching, I remember him coaching me in butterfly. That was my main sport. Not because I was great at butterfly, Jess. It's because I did so much butterfly, because that's how I got punished back in the day. If I did something wrong on the pool deck, he's like, Adam, get in and swim a 500 butterfly. So I swam a lot of butterfly. But the point I'm making here is we tweak things along the way, right? So in swimming, you are competing against time, not always your opponent, but it feels like your opponent, but you're really competing against time, because certain times qualify for next meets and so on and so forth. But the framework has to consistently change. But the framework of a race, even though you do it over and over and over in a season, that's just called 100 butterfly. That's 4 lengths of the pool. If you're in a 25-meter pool, but the framework has to change. So I can't tell you how many times I swam that race. My dad was constantly tweaking things in that simple, same event, but I bet we had, gosh, I have no idea how many versions. There was probably at least 300 versions, probably more than that, of the number of times that he told me how to change things to become better in that space.
Well, I feel like that's what made him such a great coach, though, was he had a vision of what needed to be done to achieve the goal or the desired outcome. He had the framework and the path to make it happen. And then he was coaching you on the framework and helping you adopt it, improve it, modify it, whatever word you want to use there, to then go get the desired outcome that you guys had agreed upon. And so whether it's the I Love Coaching blueprint in a coaching business, whether it's something you're building in your world, the idea of the framework is it's a vehicle to deliver your vision to somebody else. And it's funny, I thought of this analogy earlier, and I think it's applicable here as well, is we are giving you the blueprint for a working vehicle, not the one that's up on a jack in the garage that's going to sit there for 50 years while you tinker, right? And you're going to, take it, and we're giving you the engine, we're giving you the wheels, we're giving you the steering wheel, right? We're giving you the frame of it. You get to decide whether you're driving a Land Rover or an Aston Martin or a good old-fashioned Mustang, right? You get to pick the vehicle and you get to build it along the way, and you can even modify it. But the mechanics of our framework are the same, no matter how you dress it up.
That's right.
And that's going to be the same for everybody in your world. You're going to figure out, when you do the work, what works for you and what doesn't, and then you go and deliver that to other people. So I do feel like I missed an opportunity, Adam, in playing the drinking game, even if it's just with like water, of how many times we said the word framework in this episode. Well, framework's worse, but blueprint would be secondary. So I apologize for anybody who's made it this far in this podcast.
Well, but however, let me go back to some of the language that you actually have here in the blueprint. That is framework language. You say, this is not a textbook. It's not a textbook. Now, mind you, if the layman was looking at this and they saw 290 pages, they would say, that's a textbook. Nope. You say it's a hands-on course or a workshop in paper form. Beautiful language. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I want to say this next part here from the blueprint that I want everyone to hear as it relates to your own framework. And I cannot wait to coach the coaches that are coming into town this Thursday and Friday for this word right here. messy. You say in this, it's designed to be messy. And as you're building your frameworks, singular, plural, it's going to be messy. In the beginning, it's going to be messy. Go back to my swimming analogy. My butterfly in the beginning was not pretty, And then I had to develop certain things. It got messy, and then we would change some things. In our blueprint, we want you to be messy, right? We know, here's what we know about transformation. You've heard this before on other podcasts that I have shared this. Transformation begins there, Jess. Transformation begins actually with humility. And what is humility? Humility is sharing your mess, right? It's sharing your mess. So when you're building your framework here, of whatever that is, or whatever it is in your coaching space, it's okay to be messy in the beginning.
I appreciate you saying that, since I found 4 errors in looking over the thing that I sent to the printer last night.
Mess. That's not the mess I'm talking about. Goodness gracious.
For my perfectionism, it is a mess. And
mess. Let's help them define mess, though. Let's really help them define mess. And from my vantage point, then you share yours. Mess is taking what I gave you the first time and was very proud of that mess because I had put that together from my own thought process on how I had had success and then started to just compile it. It was, I think I said abstract not too long ago in this podcast. It was a very abstract piece of art is what that was, right? It was a mess. It was all over the place, though it was a compilation of my experience in growth that then has now turned into this Wall Street Journal best-selling workbook that we have.
Oh, shucks. No, I agree. If you're an art lover or art historian, Jackson Pollock is what I felt like Adam handed me. Just, the paint thrown all over the canvas.
Those sell for millions of dollars, by the way.
Right. I know. It's brilliant. And it's not everybody's cup of tea, or not everybody can follow it. Right. And I just like to think that I converted it to, I kept the integrity of your paint splatters, but I organized them more effectively like a Van Gogh. Right. So it's the paint, color, and splatters are still there. They're just, guided a little bit more. They're structured a little bit more, but you're exactly right. I think mess is that compilation of kind of ideas, thoughts, feelings that you have. And it's only through connecting with other people and action that you start to get clarity on it and turn it into a framework.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can sit here all day, every day, and read every book behind me, look up everything, argue with my GPT for hours on end. And yet my framework means nothing to no one if I'm not sharing it with others and getting feedback on whether or not it works.
Yeah. I want to give everyone a step 1 here. Let's give them a step 1 here of how to start their framework. And this is what I would say. And I want to hear what you would have to say because we might not be on the same page. If I was to restart writing this blueprint, this framework for the avatar, for the coaches, I remember writing it from the perspective of myself, not the avatar. And if you are writing your framework right now, if you're building your framework, make sure you're building it, step 1, through the lens of your specific avatar. Jess, I think that's one thing that you've done really masterfully here, even with the language. The language aligns with how our avatar thinks and how they even speak, right? So the whole thing of our current blueprint framework is written intentionally that aligns with who our avatar is. So I'd say step number 1 is start to develop your framework through the lens of your avatar.
I'd agree with that. Although I'll add the caveat, your avatar is likely a version of your past self. So just having that identified and then writing for that person is really way better than trying to write for who you are today.
That's right.
And I think that is a big key there. And, I've heard Rory Vaden say you have to write to a specific person. Don't write to everyone when you're writing any book. And I think this is just the same, whether it's the framework, whether it's the blueprint, whether it's anything, is having clarity on who you want it for, who do you want it to serve, is going to make it significantly clearer. Because now, it is 280 pages, and I couldn't have done that without all of the other, versions. I couldn't have done that without the years of working with you and working with other coaches to figure out. And honestly, a lot of the language in that is written from my past self. It's written for Adam's past self. It's written for successful humans who want to build a coaching business. And so having that in my head the whole time made it that much easier, because I'm like, I know myself. I mean, I might not be self-actualized if we're going Maslow, but like I at least know where I came from. And so to write to that person makes it that much easier. And I love that as your first step, Adam.
Yeah. And again, continuing to toot our own horn here, it is written in the language of uncertainty, right? Because we know that that's the problem that we solve for. It's written to the language of, if you're uncertain, we create certainty for you. And we know that your uncertainty, Jess, it's been created by past conditioning that we help you solve for in what we call phase one. I can't wait for phase one to hit the coaches here on Thursday. We better have some paddles ready to revitalize them after we hit them with this stuff, because they're going to be like, whoa, that was heavy.
Oh, you're talking like shock paddles.
Yes.
I was like, paddles. Are we beating them now, Adam?
No, shock paddles. We're going to have to get those things charged up and shock them, because
it's going to... talking like college football, and in my head, I went immediately to like Greek houses and the Greek paddle, and like I totally went a different direction.
Definitely not going that route. No, I'm talking about shock paddles to bring them back to life, because we are going to break their conditioning, right? We're going to break that conditioning and reframe things. So again, just giving you a little insight onto how and what we did with our framework, and to help you, because that's truly the one of the easiest ways to have fulfillment. I love that. Fulfillment, not in delivery sense, but fulfilling what you are setting out to do as a coach, and that's impact and empower people, is to have a framework on what the payoff is.
Yeah, I love it. And if coming to Charleston isn't maybe the right thing for you right now, we're happy to share all our frameworks. So we have other ones, like if you listen to our other podcasts, you might have heard us talk about the challenge. Come borrow that framework.
Yes.
It's a smaller bite-sized piece of the larger picture of what we just discussed on this podcast. And we are happy at any point in time to have you join us. And no matter when you're listening to this, we have a challenge going. So ilovecoachingco.com/challenge will give you all the details, the dates for the next one. And we would absolutely love to have you come check out our framework, use our framework, and go be successful as a coach as well.
That's right. Yeah, you'll absolutely love it. And again, like I said, there's nothing behind the curtain here. Everything that we do, Jess, everything that we create, everything that we are frameworking for coaches, we give to the coaches. So love to have you all in our next challenge. ilovecoachingco.com/challenge. Go register. And Jess, great job. I'm excited for the world to see version 8 blueprint. Good job.
Well, they're going to see 8.1 after I go fix my issues.
Get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time. See you. Bye.